All right, back out at Torote. Fletcher Wheaton here with Mitch McDonald.
Nice to see you again.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Doing good. I'm looking into this.
You're a Mexican citizen, right?
Yeah, have been since, well over 20 years now.
Mitch McDonald has to be the whitest Mexican citizen name I've heard, but you've been here for a while. You know, today we're going to dive into pre-construction specifically. So we're at Torote Restaurant. We're going to be doing some content for homes we have here. This is high up in Tezal. Down below is where you see a lot of the pre-construction, and we just kind of want to get into the nuts and bolts of it for the audience. Just give them an idea of what's happening with the pre-construction scene. It's been growing a lot, and now it's a completely different environment.
Yeah, things have really changed over the last 2 or 3 years. The growth continues. The amount of permits being issued by the city has slowed way down. There's a lot that have been issued, and there's a lot of properties that are nearing completion. Some are, halfway through, and there's a lot that are just getting started. So there's a wide range of pre-construction. And right now we're sitting above all of that. We are about 8 minutes behind Costco up the hill, sometimes called the Heights of Tezal. And as you can see behind us, we've got an absolutely stunning view.
I'm going to talk about like 100 condos or more.
Uh-huh.
And that's a good project because it has like amenities, it has scale. Would you agree if I say that right now in 2026 is the most risk that pre-construction ground up development has had in Cabo in the last 10 years for that type of project?
I would probably rephrase it and say that buyers, if you're looking at pre-construction, get very, very, very well informed from a trustworthy agent to find out who the developer is, what he's done in the past. Does he have a contingency plan if things slow down? Is he relying on sales to build out the development? And all of these things go into they can either be mitigators or can increase the risk for the buyer. So be well informed before you move forward on pre-construction.
I would say that it's the most, that's my statement and I'm standing by it. And if you had argued, I'd argue back with you. So it's risky.
It is.
So here's a couple things.
Be very careful.
We had a developer from Monterey, and they're getting younger.
Well, yeah,
they're getting younger. So first of all, you have the supply and demand. There's a lot of condos for sale.
Exactly.
So like just off the demand, it's already just absorb some of the condos that are already built out. Their average price point for essentially a 2-bedroom would be like $400,000. And it was me and another agent on a call with them, and she interjects and says, "Don't do it." And he comes back and he says, "Well, we're going to be talking to other other brokerages to list this." And I jumped in. I was like, "Don't do it. We can sell you the same thing with a better view for $100,000 less, and it's finished." Then on top of it, the dollar to the peso right now is really bad. So they're taking like a 20% haircut. Inflation, everything's gotten more expensive. But on top of it, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And then from the agent's perspective, there's projects, let's just say it was a 2-year delivery time and it's going on 4 years. So if you're an agent, you're in a very precarious position. You've probably had to go there at least once every 3 months to get an update. The buyer is now mad, and it's not necessarily your fault because it was good intentions all around, but maybe sales velocity slowed down because the financing here is completely different, right? From an agent's perspective, if I had a buyer, why would I lead them to something that could potentially take 4 years out that I don't know even will get finished when I can sell them something else for $100,000 less? I had to tell them, I was like, look, guys, you're entering that type of market. So there's a lot of resales coming on from when people bought pandemic, purchases, and they either want to offload them, they've had an equity increase, and they can still sell it below what the developer can sell their inventory, especially ground up. So if you have a project that's maybe like 50% done, okay, like that's different. But I'm talking about pure ground up. Like it's never been riskier.
You just hit the nail on the head there with the increase in material, the increase in labor cost, the gaining of strength of the peso against the dollar. Dollar buys less material than it did a few years ago. And it's difficult for developers now to build at replacement cost.
Yeah.
It's real tough. So, and I think that's what a lot of agents are doing. They're steering people towards units, that are finished. Maybe don't have the most modern amenities, but they're done. They've got a history, they're well priced.
Let's just say the last 10 years. So let's go 2016 to 2026. What do you think, if you just had to peg the exchange rate, what number would that be?
I would average it at 17, about right where it is now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So right around the pandemic, it was closer to like 20, right?
It jumped up, yeah.
So if you launch a project at like 20, and okay. I know somebody that, and they'll do their underwriting.
Yeah.
So you're paying in the US dollar.
Yeah.
And all their outputs are in the Mexican peso. They're taking a haircut, and it's already a competitive market. And then you have inflation. At the end of the day, Cabo really is an island because everything is imported. That adds to the cost.
No, you hit the nail right on the head. If you go back 4 or 5 years when a lot of these new projects were conceived and developed and planned, the peso was hanging around 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so, back then a dollar would buy you, just say, 5 cinder blocks.
Yeah.
Well, flash forward today, that same dollar only buys you 4.
Exactly.
Extrapolate that out over how many cinder blocks you need for a project, and it's a substantial hit to the margin.
No, and then it's like the projects are delayed, and then so people are trying to impose penalties, and it just like it gets dicey. The whole thing is like, let's get it complete. So I just see there's a lot of risk, and I think it's really important for people to understand that. And would you agree with this, that let's just say you have a developer that's finished a project and they're doing a next project. Does that show that that project will be successful?
It increases the probabilities.
Yeah.
If you're going to ask me, does it guarantee it? Absolutely not. But it does.
I agree. Well, everything's different. Like, this is a new climate, right? So what I'm saying is, just because somebody finished a project before doesn't mean that this one.
Exactly.
I was at the coffee shop this morning. There's a really, you had a tour there yesterday. That development, they have a new development, really high quality, but they're struggling to sell the last third of, let's say, 100 condos. So they still have like 30 to go. But, the first one went great. The second one just kind of like, hey, it's not bad. All those people are going to get it delivered. You might have amenities are like half complete for a little bit, or you might have the last tower of 30 condos, not being delivered immediately. So there's no risk. It's just, it's going to be like a half-built community.
Exactly. They're going to be living with some construction.
And there's another one from, these developers came from Tulum. I'm very scared, like right off the bat, like I'll just say it, Sinaloa and Tulum developers that come to Cabo, the hair on the back of my neck stands up as soon as I hear those areas. There's a lot of ego that comes from Tulum. There's a developer that did a project here, and they're doing a second one. And for the past 3 months, and it's like the gray ghost.
Well, I think, and that's being reflected in what people are buying. I just did a study yesterday for a client of everything that's been sold in the last 6 months in the entire Tezal area in terms of condominiums, 3-bedroom, 3-bath. 2/3 of the ones that have been sold are finished.
Exactly.
Go back 2 years, that number would have been the other way around.
Yeah.
Maybe even more pre-construction, maybe 3/4.
So let me ask you this question. It's clear right now that if you're a buyer, you can get a good deal, especially in like a Tezal or something. It makes a lot more sense to pick up a built-out finished condo that's titled versus something that's ground. Like, it doesn't make sense. The risk reward no longer makes sense. Can you think of a situation where pre-construction makes sense? And this could even be like, so these are individual houses. These are much more like one-off.
These are like one-offs.
The risk is much less because it's just one, it's not an entire community. It's like very micro.
Well, yeah. And then the big difference is the macro expensive part, which is the infrastructure, the loadification, the amenities. That's all done. The money that you would put towards your house here is used exclusively towards the building of your house, and that's why they can do it in 10 months here.
There's another, like in San Jose, I'm starting to see it. It's funny because San Jose would kind of point the finger at Cabo. They're kind of they're launching like their own Tezal. I've been getting emails for a project that hasn't even started construction yet, Groundbreaking we were joking, they sent out a groundbreaking email like in, June of last year? And we were joking, all you got to do is go to Home Depot, buy a shovel, spray paint it gold, and then have like the ribbon, That hasn't started. So there's different areas, right?
Yes.
So it depends. Like, I'm not saying that pre-construction is a bad idea. I'm just saying in certain situations, why would you, when you look at everything and you have somebody that's showing you the market and they're not just trying to sell you a particular product,
Exactly.
they can point out to you a good decision. And we've seen this, the project where there's been 2 sales ping in the past week.
Exactly.
We're starting to see people notice this.
Exactly.
And these people would have generally been buying pre-construction before, but now they're buying built out.
There's a couple others that are doing well in Tezal that are, the one with the huge clubhouse. They're doing fairly well, but they're ready to deliver their first tower.
Here's something else too, is that everybody talks about Tezal like it's like this war zone, I've lived in Tezal my entire time in Cabo.
Me too.
And I love it.
Yeah,
so people are like, oh, it's like this war zone, or like, hey, there's the place I'm at right now, no water issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great
view. I've got like 3 different coffee shops I can go to in the morning, restaurants, so now you're having all these services, restaurants, like dentists, barber shops, all this stuff is coming in. So when you get home to Tezal, you don't need to leave.
You don't need to go on the highway. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but last month they opened the first dry cleaner at Tezal. So that's like we've arrived. We have a dry cleaner.
No, I remember when my son would get sick and go to get medicine, I'd have to go like downtown, like next to like Squid Row to go get, to a pharmacy. Exactly. Now there's 6 of them. So you're just starting to have these, and it's a very comfortable place to live, and it's a good mix of locals, Mexicans, expats, vacation homes, people that are here working full-time, people that own, people that are renting. It's a good time to rent in Tezal too.
You got everything you need for your day-to-day. You want to go downtown, go to the marina, have some fun, go to the movies. Of course, that's still 8-10 minutes away, but you don't have to deal with the highway. With the grocery stores, the gas station, everything you need is right here.
So to wrap it up, what's your final thought on people listening that are thinking about pre-construction or just thinking about buying something in Cabo going in in 2026?
Pre-construction should be considered, but as I said, get some good advice, get some good consulting done by an agent that you trust, but always compare it to a similar type development and unit, be a home or a condo that's already built.
I'll just add to that. We went to La Paz last week with Nick. We both know Nick, really both like Nick. And it was six brokers from Cabo were invited. And it was like a little mastermind discussion. Yeah. And there's somebody that's been here.
Star power.
I wouldn't say that. There was somebody that's been here since really, I would say like 2015. So once again, we'll just say the last 10 years. And their bread and butter has been getting new developments from developers. So their clients are really developers, and then they sell them to, they get the listings and they sell it. This year, this guy said, no more developers. He's sick of the excuses. And that's what I'm saying is you're starting to see that not only from the buyer who might have some pain and who could potentially have more pain. You're starting to see that from the people that are representing it. They're just sick of, and once again, this isn't like nefarious or they're doing bad things. It's just the market. It's starting to get, there's more options, and you have external factors like the dollar and the peso.
Yeah, unforeseen.
Politics. So it's not, you're not pointing the finger at the developer. We're just saying that it's more. Just be cautious. And like you said, you should always, obviously, depending on your price range and things like that, consider pre-construction. Why would you not? But, make sure you have a holistic view,
get
360 of the market here.
Beautiful. I agree.
Cool. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.